Peace. What's up, everybody? This is your man John B here, and you're tuned in to The Biz with D.
All right, everybody, you guys are now tuned into The Biz with D, of course, and it's your boy David Dwayne on My Fair Springs Radio. And, of course, we got another exclusive interview, but it's with John B, who has been on the music scene for a long time now. And if you guys don't know who John B is, let's just say you guys are going to be in tune with life now. So, without further ado, John B is on the line. What's going on, man?
Peace, bro. How you been, man? How you doing, man?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm very, very good, man. I'm very happy to be talking with you, man. Let you know I got a new album and new projects that are available right now for everyone.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that you're on the line because we've been trying to get in touch with you for a long time, and it just I don't know, but we're so glad to have you because a lot of fans are like, get John B, get somebody for a little bit from back in the day. Not saying that you're old or anything,
not too far back. When
I was like 3 years old, when R&B was like phenomenal. I'm not saying that's not now, but yeah.
Well, you know what? I mean, that's a beautiful thing. It's nice to be able to see that we've translated into the youth of today, that we've been able to manage the last 20 years, and continue to love it just as much as when we started, and that's what the beautiful thing is every project I do, I'm very excited to bring it to my fans, to bring it to even the non-fans, the people who don't know who I am, you know what I mean? So there it is, yeah, man.
So you're best known for your songs, Someone to Love. Are you still down? Lately, They Don't Know, which is, I think, a lot of people will know They Don't Know. So if they don't know, y'all will know. And
you already know. You already know. Don't listen to what people say. They don't know about. Come on, man. For like the absolute novice who doesn't even know that, okay, well then that's another story.
Hits. And you've done amazing things. You've gone platinum, double platinum, gold. Wow. How does this success from your previous projects and recent projects make you feel?
It makes me feel very blessed and very fortunate, to be able to do what I do, but at the same time, the past doesn't define me. It's the present that does. So it's something to always sort of launch off from. It's a platform to sort of launch off from. If I can, use that as an analogy, it's like, your past is what you have as your foundation to sort of be in the present, and being that my past is been good to me, as far as my history, the history that I've been able to be a part of. I feel like, the present is just as important and just as special, and that's what I think keeps me continuously sort of into being an artist. And it's not necessarily being narcissistic and just, a cat who's just into myself. It's not about that. It's about being into my art, my craft of making music and the songwriting, sitting in my studio and vibing to a beat and letting the words kind of come out and the melodies just kind of happen, That's what I live for, and sharing that with the people. And I think now, after 20 years, really being able to establish a relationship with everyone, I think people trust that I'm going to bring that atmosphere that, that you gravitate towards, that naturally it just makes you feel good. So, because that's what I'm trying to do, is make myself feel good. So I know if it makes me feel good, it starts with me. If it makes me feel good, I know it'll be something special to share with the world,
That's what I'm talking about. It's got to start with you, so so that the feeling is real and it attracts everybody else. Because if it don't start with you and you don't get that feeling, no one else is going to feel like. And I constantly stress that to people. And I feel like some people are going to say, oh, my gosh, here goes David with this repetitive thing. But with my brand, I constantly say, if I won't have an artist or my label or anything until people feel it in their gut with the movement and they're like going berserk.
Yeah, I mean, well, because I mean, it just really starts with you. Really, that should be the rocket booster behind your engines, and is yourself. As far as your hunger to do what you do, and I don't care what your calling is. You just got to have that self drive, motivation. And if I'm going to shine a light on anything, that's really what I want to shine a light on. Being that I'm an independent recording artist now.
Mhm. And how would you say the transition from being signed to a major label?
Well, of course, the perks aren't exactly there in terms of the same perks that a corporation that can basically they have an endless, they have an endless bank as far as what they can pull and pay for. There is no limitation to where corporations can go financially. There's a limitation to where I can take you. You know what I mean? As far as if you're tuned in to where my career was in 1997, 98, when I was on Epic Records, and they were rolling out the videos and the big tours with Destiny's Child and Jagged Edge, and I was headlining that tour back in the day with two big tour buses and 13-piece band behind me. I mean, all that is made possible due to a corporation, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity that I've had thus far to be able to do business with the big corporation like Epic Records and the Edmonds record group as well. But I mean, the best part is the present right now. It's just the independent grind. To be able to know that the songs stood the test of time, and I'm still out here grinding for the people. Playing all this this great music and bringing people back to a very special time in their life, or even schooling the new kids that don't know yet. They haven't got their John B on yet. You know what I mean? We're about to get it on for the very first time.
Exactly. So how was your experience with Epic Records?
I mean, incredible, man. Incredible. I mean, there's, it was, needless to say, sort of surreal looking back, being that I worked with Tupac Shakur before he passed away. We worked in the studio together, not because of Epic Records, but because I was an artist that he had already bought, my album and vibed to my album, and he was a fan already of my music. So he said, "Yeah, I want to work with you. Let's get in the studio. Let's work." And so opportunities like that, that being one of my most special memories. But I mean, opportunities like working with Nas, Jay-Z, I mean, there's so many people in the industry I've gotten the opportunity to work with. But besides that, I think a lot of the nostalgia behind an artist kind of can come from being, from all the promotion that kind of comes that a label like Epic Records is able to do, and other labels, just corporations in general. They have the overhead to be able to provide for their artists like that, so you see the artist, you're very visible. As an independent artist, we base everything off of really how the live shows are doing. Right now, it's all about a live grind, being on the road. That's what pays the bills, man. That's what makes it, that's what makes it, a reality as far as being able to put more records out, is the fact that y'all still want to see me do my thing,
Right, and you touched on performing live and how that is definitely the moneymaker right there. And I
mean, that's really it. I mean, you're only as hot as you are right now, as far as, as far as what you can do right now, bring to the table. As far as I'm concerned, as far as it being an artist, a lot of artists are great, but they don't have the chops that they used to have when they first started, so they can't really go out and rock it like they used to. So that's one. But, I mean, people still appreciate that, too, because it is what it is. Just to have a person walk in the room is good enough. But, I mean, let alone when you see an artist that you love, you want to hear the song like how you used to hearing it on the record, right? It's like, so I really want to, say that's something I make an effort to do with each show, is to make it a quality experience for everyone that comes out.
Absolutely. And They Don't Know, which I want to kind of go back to that because that definitely is like my all-time favorite from you. Just thinking back, what was the inspiration behind that record?
I mean, really just hearsay is really what the record is about. The moral of the story is, just don't listen to what people say, really, what the first lines of the hook. And I think I had a lot of people in my ear at that time trying to tell me what, they thought I needed to sound like, or who they thought I needed to work with, but I knew that I had everything that I needed to, to bring to the table within myself, and I just really wanted I just kind of wanted everybody to back off, man, like, all right, man, like, enough, like, I got this, so I was like, don't listen to what people say. I just remember writing that first, because it was more like a lesson to myself, like, what am I trying to tell myself right now? Like, don't listen to what people say. They don't know about you and me, because at the same time, it was like, I was in a relationship at the time, and, being a young man, I was out there, having my cake and eat it too. So I was, just being the non-perfect person I am, I was going through my little player time, you know what I mean? being a player, and so, I was sort of writing from the aspect of someone who wanted to be true to something, but nevertheless, I couldn't change the fact that I was still a player, you know what I mean? So in that aspect, because I'm thinking back to when I was 21, man, when I wrote this record, man. 22, something like that, when I wrote this record. So, I'm 37, I'm 38, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking back, like, okay, like, wow, like, it's been a minute, but nevertheless, I can still relate to it as an adult,
Right.
Like, you want the one that you're with to know, they don't need to listen to their friends when it comes to you. They need to listen to their heart. That's basic. That's what it is.
Interesting. And that kind of brings me to a fan question from Monique, and she wanted to know, at what age were you when you decided that, like, the player act thing was just kind of out the window for you? Like, I'm gonna focus on being.
I don't think that it's a necessarily an act. I think that every man has to go through being a so-called player.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? A man who's just open to the world, who's single, who's out there enjoying life for the first time. You know what I mean? As far as you only get one experience, right? To be able to do it, So, I was living it up, but at the same time, despite that, I've always been very, very, even in my worst days of being like wild, right? I mean, even in my worst days, I've always, kept sort of like the hidden theme behind my music was always love, like, without being a loving person or always having sort of love, real love, and a loving relationship as my goal, like, I don't think that any of this music would ever seem genuine in any way, you know what I mean? Like, so, I may have gotten around a little bit, but, I take those experiences with, I say it's knowledge, man. It can,
right.
Because even when I'm writing, like, now, I look back on a lot of my experiences that I've been through, a lot of the wild times that I've spent, and that's sort of where I pull from. And I live through those experiences, like, now, like, just fantasizing, you know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm going to write about today. Like, this is a super sexy situation. It may not have happened to me yesterday, but nevertheless, it happened to me. You know what I mean? So, there it is.
Gun? That's what I can dig it. So, knowing that, like, don't you hate when it happens and you just get mid-sentence and you're like, shit, what was I going to say? All right.
Take your time. It's all good.
So, Cool Relax went double platinum. I mean, just knowing that album itself went double platinum, I mean, you had countless hits on there. How's it feel to be a double platinum artist? Selling artist?
You know what feels better than being a double platinum artist is just being an artist that still continues to care about what started this whole thing, which is music. You know, music. It's like I really put my value in the music that means 2 million people bought my music, so I feel I put a lot of, you gotta understand, like, I don't downgrade that in any way or take it for granted. Like, that is huge, but that doesn't make me feel any more better than the man who delivers my mail. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I mean, or the garbage dude.
I would hope not.
You know what I mean? Like, straight up, man. You know what I mean? That's my role in life, you know, is making music, and that's what, you know, I'm cherishing that every day, you know. I'm looking at that, like, the music, as far as the success, as the status of my success and all that, that comes and goes, you know. But this love for the music is something that's constant, you know. It's real.
Okay. That's what's up. Now, just growing up, who were some of your favorite artists?
I mean, of course, Michael Jackson, you know, one of the most influential, just in terms of someone who was rhythmic and melodic and who had sang songs that, you know, were movements, you know, in my life, you know. But at the same time, bands like Duran Duran, you know, growing up on the white boy side, I mean, you know, that was my first favorite band, you know, and, you know, they sort of gave me my fashion, my gall for fashion, you know, and sort of being in the you know, the other side of fantasy, you know what I mean, in terms of rock and dance rock, if you will, rock with rhythm, you know, and also with melody as well, and incredible lyrics. So I was sort of dialed into the whole, you know, craft of songwriting from like people like Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder. But at the same time, like I felt like a kindred spirit with people like Babyface. You know, Babyface was someone who, you know, in a time when I was in high school, you know, my freshman year in high school, hearing Babyface on my Walkman, my cassette Walkman, you know what I mean? Like,
taking
then
it back.
we didn't have it, you know what I mean? Like, it was straight reel to reel. Like,
or iTunes.
You know, no, we didn't have no iTunes, man. No internet flowing. You know, straight radio waves, like FM, AM. No, but I mean, it was a good time, and you know, Babyface was a huge part of my, you know, guy groups like that, New Edition, Keith Sweat. You know, a lot of hip hop as well, like highly influenced by hip hop, you know, all through the 90s, you know, from West Coast to East Coast. I was just into it all. Groups like Tribe Called Quest and Pete Rock and CL Smooth and, you know, Guru and Gangstar, you know, Nas, Jay-Z. But at the same time, you know, DJ Quick and Snoop Dogg and Dre and, you know, the Dog Pound and all of that good music. So Tupac, of course, you know. But I mean, all that music is the reason why my music sounds like it does. It's because of the influence that all that music gave me, you know.
Mentioned fashion, and there's definitely something I want to touch on because, of course, as you know, the years evolve, fashion evolves. But in yourself, you always had done, like, switched it up with each project, and even with each project, the sound has been different. So as far as, like, the fashion is concerned, who are some of your favorite designers?
I love Yves Saint Laurent is one of my favorites. I love Kenneth Cole. I think he's dope. I think that, I mean, there's so many. But offhand, for men, I think we're really lucky to have, you know, Dolce & Gabbana. We're lucky to have Dior. I mean, you know, as far as shades, a good pair of shades in your life, man, will not do you wrong. Upgrade your game a whole lot, man, these days. You know what I mean? Like, that's one thing I've known as I get older, man. I can get as old as I want, man, but I might be 90 years old rocking a dope-ass pair of shades. You'd be like, yo, that's a styling-ass 90-year-old right there, yo. Real talk, man. Like, shades are Shades are very important. So, but I mean, you know, I think I think fashion in general is just always been something that is always called my name. You know what I mean? Like whether it was like going, you know, raiding my daddy's closet for his good sport coats, you know, to rock them at, you know, to middle school, you know, to sixth grade, you know, and rocking a fedora in like the sixth grade with a V-neck T-shirt underneath, you know, just like having that sensibility in the golf to sort of do those different things and not knowing why, but, you know, sort of like seeing a magazine of my favorite band, Duran Duran, you know, in a magazine, or at like, you know, I'm probably in like third, fourth grade, fifth grade, and I'm trying to imitate that, you know, same as, you know, when you saw Michael Jackson for the first time rocking the penny loafers with the white socks, you know, and the, you know, with the high wadding trousers, you know, you went out and tried to do that, you know, you bought the beaded jacket, you know, it was the same sort of nostalgia behind that, you know, as a young kid. I grew up in the 80s with, you know, breakdancing and, you know, the whole fusion between rock, you know, and soul and everything, and all that, you know, came with those two cultures sort of merging, which is the product of, you know, who I am, you know.
Style is definitely something you had from like the beginning, before you even came out. So let's talk about the new music and how it coincides with your style, because I mean you're doing like the more like dance kind of pop R&B, like it's
well, some of it is like that. But you know what I do is I make an effort to adjust with the times and to be filter in what I want from the time and give you a version of what the time is giving us and have it be current, you know? Because I think it's like, you know, if you're a dinosaur, it's because you didn't adapt, you know what I mean? It's not because somebody, you know, threw an asteroid and just destroyed your world, you know what I mean? It's like, nah, if you're creative and you have, you know, the will to create, then create something that, you know, maybe a person of today might not even be a fan of yours, but they hear this new song with this new style and they all of a sudden are, you know? So that's more my philosophy about the you know, the styles that are sort of unconventional John B, that, you know, a lot of my avid fans, the people who've been around since, you know, for 20 years now, they're sort of like, why'd you do that style, man? I thought you only did R&B music, you know? It's like I do music in general, man. You know what I mean? I evolve with the times, exactly.
And I think that's great, because some people, because you have to, and I feel like there are certain artists where, okay, they need to stick to R&B. There's certain artists that just need to stick to pop. But there are those artists.
But even so, like, even if there was someone on the side saying, "Hey, man, John B, leave that alone, man. You need to strictly do R&B," like, I'd be like, "Oh well, that's your opinion." You know what I mean? Because you don't wake me up in the morning saying, "Hey, wake up, man. All right, you ready? Let's go." It's like I wake myself up. God does. You know what I mean? So like, that's who I have to answer. At the end of the day, I got to answer to myself. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like. So if I'm not happy with, that's why it starts with your happiness, you know what I mean? Like, how do you feel about the music you're making? Is it something that you want to do, or are you just doing this to satisfy the people and the label and the people who are going to pat you on your back? Like, that's something different. If it was like that for me, then that would be something pretentious and really whack, I think, you know? But being that I'm really just trying to get to people's, like, I'm just trying to get into your head, yo. Like, for real, like, because I know if it gets into my head and it sort of hypnotizes me, makes me feel like, wow, like this is an atmosphere, like I feel a certain way when I listen to this. I know it's going to make my fans, you know. People have been trusting me for 20 years, yo. You know, it's a good thing.
And the music speaks for itself, so, I mean, we're just glad that you still continue to make music, and that you started doing the music, like, oh wow! I mean,
95 was my first album, Bonafide, which is you know, the first record that we put out, and you know, that was where the song "Someone to Love" was, of course. You know, for the Babyface that you mentioned before, that which is actually the only Grammy nomination I've ever gotten. But you know, let alone like my Grammy nomination didn't come after 10 years; it came right in the very beginning. Like that is like heavy. Although I will say, though, with regard to 2013, we did win a Grammy this year. Not yours truly, but my man Drake, who featured a song of mine, Calling on You. It was a song called Cameras that he had on his last album. You know, Take Care. And I mean, it was an honor for him to sample my song Calling on You, you know, and use that for his song, you know, Cameras. I mean, that was just, it was like, you know, like just a blessing just fell out of the sky, man. I was like so pumped, man, when they, you know, they asked me if that was cool for them to do that. I was like, of course, you know. So yeah, but we got a Grammy on that, you know. That's a Grammy winning album, you know what I mean? So that's huge.
That is huge, and I think you guys should definitely do something, because, like, music-wise,
yeah, we're definitely destined to do something in the studio, you know, sooner enough, you know, soon when you know, it's just a matter of timing being right, you know. That's the way I look at it. Like when it comes to me collaborating with any artist, you know, it's just a matter of really, like, me being patient enough to wait for that moment. Because if you try to rush the moment and make it happen when you want it to happen, it may not happen always. You know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta wait, and you just gotta be patient. And you know, but the fact is that the good vibrations are out there, man. You know, and he inspires me, you know, as an artist. I will say that, to grind like I do, you know, as far as just on the music that I'm making, because it's quality music that he makes. So, you know, it encourages me to continue to strive for quality music, you know, quality production.
Now, Comfortable Swag, can we talk about that album? Because you just released that last year. I love that album. I'm still rocking to it like heavy.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Comfortable Swag is you know, I will say that, you know, it's just I think it's a return to, like, phrases like Cool Relax, you know, which was, you know, of course, one of my most successful albums. But I feel like, you know, back then I was trying to basically make the same statement to people, which is like, you know, the music is going to make you feel a certain way, and hopefully it makes you feel like this. You know what I mean? And so Cool Relax was sort of a statement of what is the atmosphere you're going to set, you know what I mean? Well, this is the Cool Relax atmosphere, you know, right? Well, this is Comfortable Swag, you know what I mean? It's like, this is what Comfortable Swag sounds like. Like when you understand what it is to be, you know, with somebody that you really are inspired by, you know, you enjoy their presence, you know what I mean? Like, then I think it exudes a certain amount of confidence. I think that itself is where I'm at, you know, in my life, is because I have a very, very the most supportive wife, you know, and just a beautiful little girl who's just like our little echo, you know what I mean? She's just our little, you know, she replays everything that we're already on, you know what I mean? And so that's like an important factor to Comfortable Swag. And I think all the songs are sort of inspired by my daily life with the family and just what it is to be a grown man and, you know, married and, you know, still trying to keep it sexy, you know, trying to keep our sexy, you know, trying to keep our inspiration, you know, what is it that keeps you youthful? And I think you got to have a comfortable swag about you. You can't just be, you know, there's a difference between just having swag, you know. I think comfortable swag is a little more, like, specific. Like, I want people to feel comfortable when they listen to my music, you know. So, there it is.
I think I might have comfortable swag. I don't know about me having swag. Now that I'm hearing basically what the definition of it, I think I have comfortable swag. I mean, you gotta have swag as a guy, but I mean, I don't know if I got like swag, like, yo, what's up? But I have a comfortable.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like, you know, it is what it is. It comes with the territory, you know. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I was 21 too. You know what I mean?
And how was the as far as Comfortable Swag, the album, how has the response been?
Oh man, it's been amazing. I mean, even with regard to the B-Sides collection that I just released on January 29th. Basically, I mean, it debuted at number 5 on the iTunes on R&B, along with Neo and all the other, you know, current artists, you know what I mean, doing their thing, which for an independent artist, man, is quite extraordinary for me. I feel very, very, you know, I mean, Vibes Elect Incorporated is official, you know, my label, you know, we're putting these albums out like within like